great players. They have a great organization. And you tell them one thing, baby.
What is good, Raider Nation? It's your boy Raider Alex back with yet another video for you guys. Anybody that's new to the channel, you guys love Raider related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Also make sure to hit that bell notification, that way you get notified every time I post a video just like this one. Without further ado, let's jump right into the topic of this video. The regular season is finally here and I am so pumped up as the Raiders start off this season on the road against a divisional rival in the Denver Broncos. The Raiders have swept the Broncos for 3 straight seasons now, so you know the Broncos are going to be motivated to finally get that monkey off their back and beat their divisional foe. Now I'm going to be breaking down what I think will be the keys for this game and ultimately what the Raiders need to do to start off the season 1-0. Now the Raiders are coming in as an underdog according to Vegas. They are a 3.5 point underdog, and just in general the vast majority of mainstream NFL media have predicted the Broncos to beat the Raiders on Sunday. So this game will be a very close game and ultimately a game that I think will be won based on the mistakes of the losing side and not necessarily because one team is so much better than another. The Broncos are coming in with a lot of weapons on offense at the wide receiver position being out due to injury, no Jerry Jeudy, and Russell Wilson is coming off of a very poor performance last season and he will need to prove himself this season. And at the same time, he's also got to learn and adapt to a new offense being implemented under head coach Sean Payton. The Raiders are also coming in with a new quarterback who hasn't played in this offensive system for about 7 years now. And they also have a lot of new faces on this team, on this offensive side of the ball as well. So overall, I think there's a lot of moving pieces for both teams. So I don't really see this game being a shootout type of a game. I think both teams will be a little rusty, especially with it being week 1, especially early in the ball game. It might take these quarterbacks a drive or two to get fully into rhythm. But if the Raiders want to win this game, I think the first key to victory will be the ground game. The Raiders got excellent news about 2 weeks ago as their star running back Josh Jacobs officially signed the franchise tag and he will be ready to go week 1 against the Denver Broncos. Josh Jacobs has been a Bronco killer against Denver as he absolutely dominated them last season, and I think the Raiders are 7-0 every time Josh Jacobs runs for over 100 yards against them. So obviously that's going to be a key to victory for the Raiders. We have to continue that trend, especially with a new quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo, who I don't think he comes out guns blazing week 1, especially with new faces at the wide receiver position, in the tight end position. I think the Raiders will need to really rely on the run game and be able to run the ball effectively. The Raiders were very good at running the ball last season, but you know, every year is different and they will have to go out and show us that they can continue to build off of this. Also, with Josh Jacobs being out for basically the whole offseason while we were waiting for him to sign the franchise tag, it's going to be interesting to see how big of a workload he will get week 1 when it comes to his carries. You can make the argument that it would not be the smartest thing in the world for the Raiders to give him 25, 30 carries with him not having a full offseason under his belt. Really, I only see Jacobs getting around 15 to 20 carries unless he's just absolutely dominating the game and the game is on the line late in the 4th quarter. So Jacobs is going to really have to be productive with the limited amount of carries he's going to get, in my opinion. But ultimately, the Raiders will need to run the ball effectively to beat the Denver Broncos. And the second thing I think the Raiders are going to have to do is the Raiders also need to play a clean game on the offensive side of the football. 0 turnovers, and ideally get a turnover or 2 on defense. So essentially winning that turnover battle is going to be huge for this team. With this being week 1 of the NFL season, it wouldn't be a shocker to see these offenses struggle a little bit, especially in the first couple of drives. But what the Raiders just cannot afford to do is to have tip passes from wide receivers that drop the ball that result in interceptions. Shout out to Kansas City. The Raiders can't afford to fumble the ball. Jimmy G can't throw ill-advised throws that lead to interceptions. And also the Raiders defense is gonna have to show us that they have the ability to take the ball away and create some turnovers. The Raiders really struggled at doing this last season, but luckily we do have new players like Marcus Peters, and just it looks like this team is a little bit more aggressive on defense. So hopefully we can find a way to force some turnovers and get the ball back to our offense. But last but not least, I think the last factor that the Raiders will need to go their way in order to win this game is we're going to need the defensive line to step up. And as I just mentioned before, if the Raiders are going to create a turnover or two, it'll likely be due to some pressure created by this defensive line, which could result in an ill-advised throw from Russell Wilson that could lead to an interception. Head coach Josh McDaniels also has confirmed that our veteran defensive end Chandler Jones will not be available against the Broncos, which is not a huge surprise after the bizarre situation we've dealt with this past week. Chandler Jones, I didn't expect him to be out there this season. To be honest, I was actually expecting that he might have been released, but nothing of that nature has come to fruition thus far. Hopefully Chandler Jones can get right, but the point is, this means with Chandler Jones being out, that some of our young guys on this defensive line will need to step up, and primarily I'm looking at defensive end Tyree Wilson. Now, the 7th overall pick for the Raiders had been out for the majority of the offseason, dealing with that foot injury that he suffered back with Texas Tech, but luckily he was able to make an appearance in the final preseason matchup against the Dallas Cowboys, where he only played 12 snaps. So it's going to be interesting to see how many snaps he will get, but somebody on this defensive line, whether that be Tyree Wilson, whether that be Malcolm Koonce, whether it be some guys in the interior like Adam Butler, Nesta Jade Silvera, etc. Look, somebody has to help defensive end Max Crosby, because we know what he's going to do. He's going to bring his A game. He's going to make some plays, but ultimately we're going to have to help combat the loss of production from a veteran like Chandler Jones. Even though he's not the Chandler Jones he used to be, he's still provided some valuable snaps to this team. But Raider Nation, those are my 3 keys to victory for the Las Vegas Raiders. Look, as I mentioned, I think this will be a very, very close game that will come down to the wire. And I think the Raiders will win this game due to just them controlling the clock, playing a clean game on offense, just being efficient, and Jimmy Garoppolo showing that he can be able to move the ball and run this offense in an efficient and effective manner. And I think the defense ultimately ends up getting an interception. If I had to predict, I think it's going to come from Marcus Peters. But ultimately, I think the Raiders leave Mile High with a victory. They sneak away with the dub. I think the Raiders will win 20-17, and we start off the 2023 NFL season 1-0. But let me know what your guys' prediction is for tomorrow's game. Do you guys think the Raiders win? If so, what will be the main factors to this victory? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching. Anybody that's new to the channel, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.